The middle part of the brain is the mammalian brain. It's the warm-blooded, emotional kind of brain. It has a lot of reactivity, so it sees things all over the environment and it's going to respond to them. And the brat is what I call the middle brain, or the mammalian brain, the emotional brain. I call it the brat because unless you've trained the brat, it really gets in the way of your well-laid plans, because the brat is going to bug you all the time, especially if you give in to it. So the brat's all about emotion and I want. And the beast, the original part of the brain, the reptilian brain, that brain doesn't really have language. It's just so it's not asking for anything. It just wants to be fed, and if you don't feed it, it breaks out and it goes to eat. The brat is just at you all the time. Have a little of this. Oh, that looks so good. Please, please, please. Oh, you've been so good. There's all these reasons, and there's just nagging food preoccupation. And of course, the way you deal with the brat in your brain is the same way that you would deal with a brat, a bratty child, a bratty dog. They have to understand that there are some boundaries, some, as Cesar Millan, the dog whisperer, would say, there's rules, boundaries, and limitations. So you have to set this framework around it, and you have to let the brat know that you will not give in to the bad behavior of your brat. You won't give in to the I wants. The brat really sabotages us when it comes to keeping us in fat storage mode, because we snack because of the brat. So you have to think of those snacks as like little treats. The mammalian brain, or the brat brain, you could also call it the dog brain, because the dog's a mammal, one we're very familiar with. And just think if you had this dog that was coming up and constantly begging for treats. If you gave the dog a treat, then you shouldn't expect him to go, thank you so much for that treat, I'll never bother you again. No, you've trained the dog, you've trained the brat to keep bugging you until you give in. And so if you've been indulging your brat for a really long time, even if you do so for scientific reasons, like you read in a magazine, or your trainer told you, or your doctor told you that you could increase or enhance your metabolism by eating small, frequent meals throughout the day, that might increase your metabolism a tiny, tiny bit. But when you there's a whole lot of other things that decrease your metabolism a lot more, and snacking is the behavior most strongly correlated with obesity and overweight in America and in every other developed country. As snacking starts to occur, as snacking starts to increase, weight climbs up right with it. And that trains your brat to bug you. So when you start not having any boundaries, rules, or limitations about when you eat, then your brain is going to think, particularly if it sees delicious food in the environment, I want. If it sees someone else eating, I want. So if you indulge it and then you say, no, I'm on a diet, then you should expect exactly what you would from a non-trained dog or a non-socialized child. They throw a tantrum. So that's what you're going to have to deal with until you start to establish some of these rules. So the main first rule of training the brat is to decide when there are times to eat, and don't eat at any of the times that aren't one of those times. Those times should be meal times, either 2 or 3 times a day, unless you have some particular medical reason, of which would be very rare. You shouldn't need to eat more often than that. So what do you do when you get hungry? Well, that's the subject for another video, because you absolutely will get hungry. That's why it is the brat. That's the brat going, feed me, feed me, feed me. So see my video on feed me, feed me, feed me to find out what to do then.